Michael Saylor, as of yesterday, has now stepped down as the CEO of MicroStrategy in a move that makes him now strictly the head, more or less the head of the board, which was a role he actually had while also keeping his title of CEO. The new CEO is Fong Li. I hope I pronounced that correctly, who has been pretty instrumental, according to Saylor and the earnings call yesterday, in steering MicroStrategy's sort of data analytics side of their business and firm. Michael Saylor, as many of you are aware, has been very, very focused on Bitcoin, the network, and its growth. And in this move, he has said that he's going to spend now more time focusing on Bitcoin. This follows, Jack Dorsey's move not even a year ago. This is not dissimilar to a move that Jeff Bezos did, where he stepped down as CEO but became the chairman of the board instead. So this is not an uncommon move. What is very uncommon, or maybe not uncommon, but I want to make sure I have this exact percentage at the moment I say it. So as of 10:12 a.m. Pacific time, the market has not even been open for a full, actually, no, it's been open for quite a few hours. MicroStrategy is up 13.77% today. Look, you could talk about what their earnings were. You can talk about what their expectations were. None of that stuff matters. The big news is their CEO is now out and strictly working on the board. So why has Wall Street reacted so positively to the news that the founder of a company has left? We all have our own theories. Mine actually is Wall Street is still very, very bearish on Bitcoin. You don't have Wall Street really understanding what the value proposition of Bitcoin is. That's why you've seen the correlation between the NASDAQ, especially the NASDAQ 100, and the price of Bitcoin. You see the way Bitcoin miners and Bitcoin related equities have just been getting pounded much harder during this most recent bear market than the broader market or even the price of Bitcoin. So these little clues signal to me that Wall Street actually sees this as a possibly positive move for MicroStrategy's core business. But they're sleeping on the larger move, which is now you have one of the smartest and most thoughtful technological minds focusing more of his time and energy on Bitcoin. Mind you, this is a man who, quite frankly, created what we now view as data analysis in large part in today's iteration of data analysis. So this is someone who has seen the future many a times. We talked about it in this morning's staff meeting where Michael Saylor back in 2001 and 2002 was hyper focused on collecting data from your phone and help push forward things like push notifications on your cell phone. For context, the first iPhone came out in 2006, I believe, maybe 2007. So he was way ahead of the curve there. So all I'm saying is if Michael Saylor thinks this Bitcoin thing is something worth his time, we might be onto something here, guys. 2007, first iPhone came out. Thank you, Chris. I open it up to either of you. What are your initial reactions? Is this a gut punch? Are we excited? What we doing here, guys?
So I think this is fucking fantastic. Not a surprise, as you said. This is something that CEOs do with some regularity in terms of different companies. I think your analysis of what exactly is going on, why the stock price is up significantly given the announcement, I think it's probably accurate. I suspect that Wall Street, idiots that they are more focused on the idea that, thank God, now the CEO will be 100% focused on the company rather than Bitcoin. And that's great for them. I also think this is fantastic for the space. It allows, Saylor, I mean, realistically, let's be real, he probably was already spending like 98% of his time focused on Bitcoin and
120% of MicroStrategy's money.
Exactly. So I don't think this really changes anything. I think it's just a title change in name and recognition only. But yeah, I think it's great for Bitcoin. I think it's great for MicroStrategy. I also want to remind everyone, slay your fucking heroes, right? Just because Michael Saylor has been doing what he's been doing and has been an advocate for Bitcoin, that does not mean that he will always be an advocate for Bitcoin. No reason to think that he wouldn't, but the hopes and dreams of people in the Bitcoin space are, and by people, I mean plebs, are just littered with the backstabs from various people who have been supporters of Bitcoin and then have shifted and they start doing something else and trying to basically take Bitcoin out of people's pockets and put it into their own. So we should be able to celebrate the accomplishments that people successfully execute. and also not deify them and hold them accountable for all their actions going forward as well. So
I don't want to slay you though. You're my hero. So, all joking aside, I mean, I had to because you went down the insect milk and the dog food rant. But I
we'll talk
still
about it
love you,
later.
man. Our differences aside, I agree with this. Like Fong Li, even though people were like, "Oh, he's only going to focus on the company and running that," he took over as president in January of 2020. So he was there the entire time for the Bitcoin strategy and he helped implement this as the chief financial officer as well. So he's president and chief financial officer. So to Q's point, even though Wall Street sees this as, oh, he's this dude, he's just going to be running the company now. I mean, he's fully aligned with this mission. Saylor wouldn't just give him over the reins, and he helped like develop this strategy. I know in 2021 and 2022, MicroStrategy ran a conference. It was Bitcoin for Businesses or something along those lines in February, and it was basically helping companies copy their playbook of putting Bitcoin on your balance sheet. How do you account for it? Talking about gap accounting principles and how they're unfair and how he's trying to advocate to change them. But I think that this and Feng Li in both of them was a keynote speaker in a lot of the talks. Obviously, Michael Saylor was talking in it. A couple of them they were on panels together, but he like very much realizes this, and I think many people within the company are aligned with this mission. So I think this is wildly bullish, and I'm excited for it.